Welcome to my channel. My name is Ria, and in this video we are going to go over the astrology for the full moon happening in the sign of Aquarius on 11th of August. Some places this might be 12th of August. So for this video I'm going to go over the general energies of the moon, and then I will mention where this moon will fall for your particular sun or rising sign. I would recommend watching the overall energies and then watching your rising sign or sun sign. If you don't know your rising sign, you can always just watch your sun sign. So I will also put timestamps in the description box, so you can click on whichever sign you want to watch and go directly to that. So let's get started. Now, a full moon in astrology represents a point of completion and culmination. It's a point where an astrological process is completing itself. It's a point where things can become clear to us. So that's what a full moon is, and on the chart, that's the moon. That's the full moon. When the sun and the moon oppose, we get a full moon, and this full moon is in the sign of Aquarius. So Aquarian themes in general will be highlighted, but more important is where this full moon will fall for your particular sign, and I will get into that in the sign section of the video. But generally speaking, Aquarius is the sign of rebellion, of revolutions, of peace, of scientific innovations, of progress, scientific breakthroughs, of raising our vibration, of awakenings. It's a very futuristic sort of energy. And on a personal level, Aquarius is to do with being our unique self, right? Not thinking too much about what people say or what people expect of us, but just being our unique self, right? On a personal level, it's about these themes. On a collective level, it's about science, progress, innovation, revolutions, rebellion, in the internet, right? That's the big theme with Aquarius as well. So these are the broad themes. Anything that's very progressive or new age is Aquarius. And that's the first thing. Now, let's talk about the aspects that are going on the moon, and these aspects are what will kind of help us understand what this moon might bring into our lives. So the first aspect is a conjunction to Saturn, right? A conjunction is when two planets are together. So you can see the moon and Saturn are sitting next to each other and they're together. And Saturn is a decision maker, right? Saturn is an energy that likes to have everything in order, in structure. It does not like chaos much. So it's this energy that says, you know what, decide to things, commit to them, and do it and work hard towards those. So that's the energy of Saturn. So what this tells me is that this moon can be a point where decisions are required of us, right? Where we might be required to commit to something, or we might be required to give order to something in our lives. So that's the first thing. Now, the second thing is that this moon right here is making a 90-degree angle with this energy. This is Uranus and this is the North Node, Rahu, right? And the moon is making a 90-degree angle, a square, with this energy, and a square in astrology is representative of a challenging aspect, right? It represents this pressure point, this point of friction, where, you know, to handle that pressure, to handle that friction, we must take decisions, we must change, we must grow, we must evolve. And it's making this pressure point, right? The moon is making this pressure point with Uranus, the planet of change, the planet of being our true, unique, authentic self, the planet of, you know, letting go of something, leaving something behind that's not good for us any longer. So we are at this pressure point where we must, you know, be willing to change. We must be willing to let go of things that don't serve us. And this point is a point where, you know, that decision needs to be made. The point where you need to say for certain that, yeah, this is what I let go of and this is what I commit to. Because Saturn is there demanding that decision, right? There's this pressure to change. There's this pressure that's saying, hey, let go of that thing, let go of that thing. But what happens sometimes is that we know we have to let go of something, right? We know that this is not good for us anymore, but we still stay there, right? In our mind, we're saying, yeah, you know what? I need to let that go. But we are not fully committed to the idea of letting that change happen, letting that old thing go, or letting that new thing come in, right? But this is that point with Saturn there that we must be, saying, you know what, I commit to this decision. I say this is final. I'm willing to finally say that this is what needs to go and this is what needs to come in, and I'm ready to make that decision. I'm ready to make that commitment. So this is that energy, right? And you can see Rahu is sitting right next to Uranus, right? And a few days ago, they both met up, right? Rahu and Uranus, they met up, they conjuncted. And they met up after like 15 years. And when they meet up, there's this new energy that comes in that says, hey, change, let go of the old, just let it go. So for the past 10 days, we've been in this new powerful energy that's saying change, that's saying let go, that's saying embrace the new. Don't be afraid to release something that's not in alignment any longer. So for the past 10 days, we've been in this energy. But with this moon, I feel this is the point where we might get some clarity. We might get some ideas or epiphanies or insights that makes us say, okay, you know what? Yeah, it's time. It's time to commit to that change. It's time to let it go. So this is a very new energy that's entered our lives 10 days ago, right? Because they met up on 31st July. So now is that point where that energy is becoming more clear. Now is that point where we are saying, this is the decision, this is the commitment. I'm willing to let that go. I'm willing to let this new thing come in. I'm willing to restructure my life in this way. So that's that. Now, if you notice the chart, right, we have a few more things going on. We have the moon right here, not just making a 90-degree with this energy, but making a 90-degree with the south node, Ketu as well, right? So it's making a 90-degree angle with the south node and the north node, and the sun is also here. It's a grand cross, right? 490-degree angles. And any planet that's aspecting the nodes, Rahu and Ketu, in this way is magnified. And it is also the energy that can help us move away from the past. The Ketu is the past, and into the future. Rahu is the future. And what is that energy? That energy is that decision. That energy is that commitment you will make. That energy is that thing that you will say, you know what, I'm going to structure my life this way. It need not be a very visible, tangible decision. It could be an internal one where you are finally internally saying, it's okay to let that go. It's okay to let this new come in, right? So through that decision-making process, that streamlining process, that restructuring process, we can let go of the past and step into the new, step into the future. So this is a major point, right? Major point where a lot of the past starts to release, starts to end, and a lot of the future, a lot of the new, a lot of the changes start to come in. And that's the moon in a nutshell, right? This decision point, so that we can incorporate these changes that have entered our lives 10 days ago. And it's a very karmic energy, right? And through this energy, we will leave behind the past and step into the future. It's karmic. Why is it karmic? It's karmic because the nodes, Rahu and Ketu, are the most karmic points, are the most destined points in anyone's chart. And so is Saturn. Saturn is the planet of karma. And this moon is aspecting all three in such a strong, powerful way, right? A lot of karmic energy at play, a lot of energy at play that's helping us decide and streamline and restructure so that we can let go of things that are not good for us anymore. But be mindful of the fact that since Saturn is next to the moon, right? Saturn and the moon don't really get along that much. The moon is our emotions, it likes to run free, and Saturn is the decision maker. It's the one that works hard, it's the one that takes those tough calls, right? So our emotions might not feel the best on the moon. Just be mindful of that. Saturn is there, we might feel slightly low. And another thing that we might need to do is we might need to work with certain restrictions, right? Because Saturn is restrictive, Saturn is limiting in nature. So we might need to work with those restrictions and limitations. But say that, but say to ourselves that although I have these restrictions or limitations, I'm still ready to decide to change. I'm still ready to move forward to the future, right? So that's the energy. And on the moon, Mars is making a positive angle with Pluto. Mars right here is the planet of how we take action, right? And Pluto here is the planet of transformation. So, with this moon, since we are changing so much, since we are deciding, restructuring, streamlining, there might also be a need to change how we go about things, change how we do things, and that change can happen quite naturally, right? And I say that because the stress is in the decision. The stress is in willing to commit to the new, in willing to let go of the old. But once we make that commitment, once we take that decision, once we are ready to restructure and streamline our lives, automatically, that thing of how we do things will change, because Pluto and Mars are in a positive aspect. And Neptune is also aspecting Mars, right? It is aspecting Pluto as well. So whatever you decide, whatever you're willing to let go of, listen to your gut also. Listen to your intuition as well. So that's the moon in a nutshell. I would say it's an extremely important moon with a lot of change, with a lot of commitments that can be made, with a lot of decisions that might need to be taken, with a lot of energy pressurizing us to accept the new, right? The new energy that's entered our lives. And now I will talk about where this moon might be for your sun and rising sign. And always keep in mind that your personal chart is the most important, right? Whatever is going on in your personal chart will be the most important thing to determine how the energies are impacting your life right now. And the best thing would be to know where 19 degrees of Aquarius is and look for the house and then kind of figure out what's happening. But I will give you an estimate of where this moon might be for your sun and rising signs. So we'll start with Aries and finish with Pisces. So Aries, for you, Aquarius is your 11th house, right? So this full moon is on your 11th and 5th house axis. The 11th house is to do with your hopes and goals and dreams and your desires. It's also the house where you connect with others, right? It's the social house. So this full moon is there completing something in your house of being social, in your hopes, goals, and dreams. And since it's in your 5th and 11th house axis, the sun is in your 5th house, highlighting themes of children, love, romance, creativity, hobbies, fun, and pleasure. So that's the axis for you, Aries. Now moving on to Taurus. Taurus for you, Aquarius is your 10th house, right? So a lot to do with business and career on this full moon, as well as your home and family, because this is in your 10th and 4th house axis. So these are the themes that will be highlighted in a major way for you, Taurus. Business and career on one hand, and your home and family and your foundation and your property matters on the other. Now for you, Gemini, Aquarius is your 9th house, right? 9th house is to do with foreign travel and foreign lands and learning and higher education and wisdom and knowledge and that sort of stuff, right? So the moon is in this house highlighting these themes, and the sun will be in your 3rd house, which is the house of communication, right? Which is the house of your immediate environment. So those themes can come up as well. Now Cancer, Aquarius is your 8th house. The 8th house is the house of overall transformation, right? It's the house where things can change a lot. It's the house to do with the occult or an interest in investments or even intimacy, right? So matters connected to intimate relationships, matters connected to an overall transformation are highlighted with this full moon. And the sun is in your 2nd house, right? So financial matters, matters of material possessions and appearances are also highlighted with this full moon energy for you, Cancer. Now, Leo, for you, Aquarius is your seventh house, right? So themes of marriage, themes of business partnerships and legal issues are highlighted with this moon for you. The sun will be in your sign in your first house, illuminating matters to do with you, your identity, your appearance, how the world sees you, how you present yourself to the world, things like that. Virgo, Aquarius is your sixth house. So this energy is in your house of health, house of routine and diet and exercise, right? So a lot of energy there for you. And at the same time, the sun will be in the 12th house, highlighting matters of closing out the past, matters of the subconscious, matters of drugs, delusions, addictions, depression, if those apply to you. The 12th house is also to do with spirituality and creativity. So those themes might be highlighted as well, Virgo. Now, Libra. Aquarius is your fifth house. So themes of love, romance, creativity, hobbies, fun, children are highlighted with this full moon. At the same time, it is also on the 11th house axis, right? So the sun is in the 11th house for you. And that's the house of being social, connecting with others, your hopes, goals, and dreams. So a lot of focus on those themes as well with the sun in the 11th house for you, Libra. Scorpio, for you, Aquarius is your fourth house. A lot of focus on matters of family, of your home, of your emotions, could be a property matter as well. And the sun will be in the 10th house, in your house of business and career. So a lot of focus there for you as well, Scorpio. Now, Sag, for you, Aquarius is your third house. So for you, this full moon is highlighting matters of communication, social media, marketing, connecting with your siblings, immediate environment, peer group, that sort of thing. And at the same time, it is overlooking your ninth house. The sun is in the ninth house. So themes of foreign travel, learning something new, higher education, connecting with foreign cultures, all these themes are highlighted as well. Now, Capricorn, Aquarius is your second house, right? The second house is the house of financial matters. It's the house of material possessions. So a lot of focus in these areas for you in matters of finances and material possessions. Could also be to do with your appearance, Capricorn. At the same time, the sun will be in the 8th house, right? Illuminating and shining light on matters to do with transforming, matters to do with your psychological makeup and intimate relationships. Now, Aquarius, this is an important one for you. It is in your first house. It's got to do with you, your identity, who you are, how you present yourself to the world, how the world sees you, your appearance, that sort of thing. And the sun will be in the opposing house, your 7th house, highlighting themes to do with your marriage, your business partnerships, legal issues, that sort of thing. And Pisces, this moon is happening in your 12th house. The 12th house is the house of closing out the past. It's the house of the subconscious mind. It's the house of being creative and spiritual, meditation, yoga, that sort of thing. It's also the house of drugs, delusions, depression, addictions, if these apply to you. So broadly speaking, these are the themes that will be highlighted with the moon, and the sun will be in the opposing house, the 6th house. So your health, your routine, your job, your diet, your habits, exercise, all these themes are also highlighted with this full moon. So that's the moon in a nutshell. I hope you enjoyed this video, and now I will see you in one of my other videos. Have a great full moon. Bye.